to the 3rd Annual Young Environmentalists Youth Summit. My name is Shannon Kollasch, and I am so thrilled to be here. Greening Forward has actually been one of the most exciting parts of my life over the past year since when I joined the Youth Council. Right after I joined, I was immersed into Greening Forward's second IYEYS, and there I found a whole community of amazing environmentalists. I found activists, I found leaders, I found learners, I found educators. It was amazing. And the energy there, it was just incredible, like nothing I'd ever seen before. And since then, Greening Forward has been part of my life. It has taught me so many things. It has taught me about the dynamics of a nonprofit, and it has taught me about fundraising. Here's actually a picture of me fundraising in Chinatown for Greening Forward. And it has also taught me about how great the environment is. But beyond that, what is important to me about Greening Forward is the personal connections I've made. This is our staff, and they are the most amazing people that I've been in contact with over this past year. I'm so grateful to be a friend of all of these people. I'm so grateful to be Charles's friend. I don't know how he does it, but somehow he manages this organization while keeping a personal connection with every individual who comes to it, and still managing the whole. I've been in contact with Taylor Green. She's been helping me with social media, and she's helped me learn many new things about it. And Bree and Hasib and all the youth council, I just love everybody. There's a special person I'd like to thank for this conference, though. Can Karen please step forward?
Come on, Karen.
On behalf of Greening Forward, we'd like to present you these flowers. Karen has just been so amazing over these past few months. She's been doing so much work to make this youth conference possible, and I'm just astounded by her diligence. It's amazing. So, needless to say, I'm so excited to be at IYEYS for the second time and to hear how everybody else got involved with Greening Forward in this summit. But before we kick off the summit, we did have a rules video, but our video isn't working right now, so I guess there are no rules. Anarchy, guys. Well, I guess, sure, no hitting, no bad-mouthing other people, all the good stuff. All right, so now if everybody can take out their schedule packets, that would be great. All right, so what you want to do with your schedules today is these 3 things. You'll want to read over your schedule first to see what presentations you'd like to go to. Then you want to, on the second to last page of the packet, there is actually a map that where you can look for your presentations and where they'll be held. And so before you go to your presentations, you might just want to check with the map to make sure you know where you're going. And 3, always ask for help if you need it. There's always people at the reception desk who are happy to help. There are a few notes. You may have noticed at the beginning of your packets that there are some presentations that have been canceled. At 11 a.m., if you can see, this is, I believe, the second page of your packet. The Solar One presentation has been canceled. Instead, Sarah Katz from Bronx Green Up will be present in the theater studio at that time. Additionally, at 1:30 p.m., there is a presentation. Laura Rogg and Generation On's presentation will be has been canceled for that time. So just make a note of that. Maybe cross those presentations off on your schedule if you'd like to. All right, so this summit has a whole lot of moving parts, and you don't want to miss any of it. So here is a texting subscription that we have created so that you are always on track of things. If you'd like to, you can subscribe to this number. You can take out your cell phones right now and subscribe to this number, 81010, text add IYEYS to this number, and you'll be updated throughout the day so that you're always on track. Now we'd like to show some gratitude for those who have made this summit possible. Of course, our sponsors. Let's look at our sponsors on the second page of your agenda. You'll be hearing from some of these organizations today. There's the NYC Department of Education. There's the Youth Service America. There's Earth Force, and there's The Point. These are all organizations that will be joining us in our sessions today. Can you please stand if you are with any of our sponsors? Thank you guys so much. Also, if you are an exhibitor, can you please stand? Or presenter. Thank you guys. This conference is made possible through the generous volunteers who contribute their time and expertise. Now I want the staff and youth council of Greening Forward to please stand. You guys were the lifeline to Greening Forward. This wouldn't have been possible without any of you. Now I want to recognize the people who have traveled the longest. I know there's some people who have traveled for a long while, so if anybody who has traveled more than 3 hours, can you please raise your hands? Jeez. Oh my gosh. Now let's try 4 hours. Let's try 4 hours. Oh my god. 5 hours? Anybody? Anybody? Wow. Your guys' commitments just wows me. Want to share with you an opportunity to make some money. I mean, we're all here for the green, right? That's a joke I stole from Taylor. I'm gonna admit it. But anyways, all of you guys at IYEYS have an opportunity to show your networking skills with this social media challenge from Greening Forward. All you need to do is first take a picture with or of your favorite speaker from the conference. Then you need to follow Greening Forward on either Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And third, post this picture to one of those networks or multiple with the hashtag IYEYS and tag Greening Forward. The prizes for this are a Human of New York book and a $20 Amazon gift card. Of course, there's only one winner though, and this is the winner who... Oh, Taylor, you have something to say?
Yes, it's only on Facebook, it's not on multiple networks, and you don't have the hashtag IYEYS, but I encourage.
Okay, revision. It's only going to be on the Facebook social network, and you don't have to hashtag IYEYS if you don't want to, but I mean, why wouldn't you? So, our social media team will be counting the amount of likes, comments, and shares you get, and we'll count that as engagement. And whoever gets the most engagement, we're going to give them these prizes: the Humans of New York book and $20 Amazon gift card. Charles?
Also, at the end of the day, and you need to be here, be present for that.
Yeah, that would be helpful. And Taylor, who was speaking before, she's our go-to girl for this competition.
No.
If you have any other questions, don't feel afraid to ask either Taylor or the people at the reception desk. Let's get on to some speakers. I mean, money and prizes, those give me an amazing feeling. But what gives me an even more amazing feeling are the people who champion youth involvement in the environment. With this in mind, we will not be hearing from Michael Brune yet, since our videos are not working. But let's hear from Dr. Sharon Jaye. Sharon Jaye is the Director of Sustainability for the New York City Department of Education. Her office is responsible for sustainability in over 1,800 schools in 1,290 buildings. She has a bachelor's degree in business administration. She has a master's degree in project management and a doctorate of education in educational leadership. Her dissertation on benchmarking greenhouse gas emission inventories in higher education was published in the International Journal of Facility Management. Sharon Jaye has renewed the NYC Department of Education Sustainability Initiative's commitment to youth leadership by building groundbreaking and collaborative partnership with stakeholders. One of her successes is actually supporting the development of this very conference.
Yes.
So without further ado, let's please welcome Dr. Sharon Jaye.
The microphone. For those of you that have maybe heard me talk before, I'm definitely a projecting speaker. I'd like to welcome you all to the summit. This is so exciting to have this room full of young people that want to make change. I mean, it's so incredible. It's one of those things that I didn't necessarily get to do when I was a kid. I was in Girl Scouts. I have to credit Girl Scouts for 10 years for my environmental passion and leadership skills. So this is your opportunity to learn about how you can get connected to environmental work and get started. What I'd like to say, other than just welcoming you to New York City, where are my New York City students? Yeah, shout out. This is, we actually had our first sustainability student summit last year, and we had about 50 students there. That's one of the reasons that I partnered with Bringing Forward to bring this student summit to New York City, is because, for one, I didn't want to have to do all the logistics, and Karen was awesome in taking care of that this year, so thank you very much. So that's one of the reasons that the t-shirts and the water bottles and the bags were provided by the Department of Education for you guys today, so I'm very thankful I was able to help you with that. And then Charles and I met 3 years ago at the Green Schools National Conference. If you guys get a chance today to have like a 2-second conversation with Charles, you'll get inspired by what he does. It's just an absolutely incredible person. And he renews, and you guys renew, my passion about sustainability every day. Every single one of the adults that's here maybe helping put this on are here to support you. We're here to get you resources, get you connected with the right people so that you guys can do awesome stuff. It's because the adults are the ones that have been destroying our planet for the last couple of generations. And a lot of us know that, and we're trying to do things better, but there's a lot of adults out there that don't know that and don't know the harm that they're doing to their planet. So I'm going to tell you a little trick. So one of the things that I talk about, we have this great framework in New York City where every single one of our schools has to designate a sustainability coordinator on their staff. It's an adult. And that person is in charge of doing things in their school. We have several of our sustainability coordinators in here today with their students, which is fantastic. But I have them come to me and go, man, I can't get my facility manager. We're doing all the sorting in the school, in the classrooms of our paper and our metal glass and plastic, but when the custodian comes around, they put it all back in the same bin and it's going to the curb for sanitation to pick up and not being sorted. And I said, you know what? Get your kids, your green team, your student green team, have them go to the custodian and say, custodian, why aren't you keeping our stuff separate? We're doing all this hard work of keeping and sorting and doing what we're supposed to, but you're not putting it out at the curb correctly. And you know what that custodian's going to do? Going, oh my God, I just got shamed by 10-year-olds. Okay, so this is the power that you guys have, that you guys can make change, because when a young person comes up and knows more about climate change and more about what we should be doing, you can shame these adults into doing better because you guys know what you're talking about. Okay, that's the power of today, to get you guys connected, give you guys the resources. I'm going to be around all day. I'm on a panel later, but I am open for anybody to talk to anytime if you want to talk about something in New York City or other things that are going on in the country, because I'm connected to a huge network of sustainability directors around the country. Please come, let's have a conversation. I'm here all day, and I'd like to welcome you to New York City. Thank you.
You're not done yet. Come, we have some flowers for you. There you go. I love Sharon and Jaye. Thank you. Thank you so much for your words. We have a special guest here with us. We have New York City Council member Kosta Konstantinidis. Could we please have a hand for Kosta?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm like Dr. Jaye, I'm from New York. And I really welcome to New York City. It is so great to see all of you here. I want to congratulate Charles, who just gave me a huge hug when I walked in. I feel like we know each other already. You're amazing. Thank you for your great work. And Karen for inviting me and all the great work you did to the logistics here. And Dr. Jaye, who the de Blasio administration has been committed to the environment. They get it. They understand right out the gate that we have a commitment to ourselves. We have a commitment to you to leave the planet in a better place than we found it. Because as Dr. Jaye said, the grown-ups have done a pretty good job of messing things up. So it's now our responsibility to begin the work to start making it better. So I want to thank you guys for all at the DOE and everyone for helping to provide the logistics for this great conference. And I want to shout out Annie, who is my hero, my environmental hero. But last year, I'll tell you a quick story. Last year, I worked with a group called Global Kids in my neighborhood out in Astoria. And Astoria, so we have some real serious challenges there. The number one reason children go to the hospital under 14 in Astoria is asthma. And those students miss between 10 and 30 days a year due to asthma. Now we have power plants in our community, we have LaGuardia Airport for those of you who flew in, we have the Grand Central Parkway, and we have all the other effects of climate change all bearing down in our community. But there have been communities that have been more affected by climate change. Because after the horrors of Hurricane Sandy, people lost their lives. People lost their homes. Climate change is a real thing. And I got a call from Global Kids and from Annie saying, we want to book the steps of City Hall. I was like, okay, sure, what do you guys need? And they're like, well, we have this great idea that there should be K through 12 climate education in the schools. And I was like, that sounds like a really great idea. Because climate change is not something that should be just part of one science lesson and we're done with it. I think climate change and environmental science is a little bit larger. that it affects politics, economics, every facet of what we do is affected by the environment and climate change. So that there should be K through 12. So I was like, sign me up. I'll not only will I help you get the steps to City Hall, but I'll be there with you, and I'll add one on. I will introduce a resolution asking the state DOE to make this part of our curriculum. And it became a student initiative, and right now there are 12 sponsors on that resolution, thanks to the great work that it started with students in this room. So that's why. That is directly having an impact. And you know who I got a letter from the other day? The National Resource Defense Council. And it was a pretty formal letter, and they were asking me to support Resolution 375. But they didn't tell me they were doing this. And I was like, this is amazing. I was like, but by the way, guys, it's my reso. So you had me, I don't know if you guys know the Jerry Maguire reference, you had me at hello. The older folks, the rest of you are like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, they are national, large environmental organizations are on board with what started as a student initiative. So the work that you're going to do today, the collaboration that you guys are going to have, you're going to have a real impact on New York City, on wherever you're from, and on our nation. And I need you guys to continue to do that. Because we need you to not only be the next leaders. You're going to be sitting where I am, you're going to be sitting where Dr. Jaye is very soon, but we also need you to hold us accountable while we're still here. Because we need to make sure, right now, there are many who don't believe in climate change. Throughout this country, even in our city right now, there are I get people on my Facebook page when I put up something, right now we're trying to do geothermal, we're trying to do biodiesel, solar, wind. I have folks who post on my Facebook page, climate change is an imaginary thing. That, you're just part of this liberal leftist agenda. And I'm like, what? There's a way that we can build a green economy, to create good green jobs, to save our planet, to have better health outcomes, and for people to succeed in business all at the same time. But we need innovation. We need people like yourselves to set that standard and to hold us accountable. So I want to congratulate you here very quickly. And by the way, really quickly, just so you know, last year in collaboration with the de Blasio administration, we did a landmark bill putting into law the largest big city in the country to set a goal of 80% emissions by the year 2050. The sponsor of that bill, the lead sponsor, but we're trying to lead here, but that just puts us on a path. And the way we're going to walk that path is walking it with you. You're going to lead us there. And when I'm 75 years old, and I'm in my nursing home, I'm going to be looking to see you guys in these seats saying, we blew way past 80%. So I thank you, I congratulate you. I can't stay today because I have to run to some events back in Queens, but keep up the great work, guys. Keep making it happen.
We have a gift package for you too. Here you go. Thank you so much. Mr. Constantinides, he is inspiring. To introduce the Greening Forward CEO, Charles Orgbon. After noticing his school's littering problem as a 12-year-old, this was when he was in the 5th grade, Charles Orgbon began leading school-based community beautification projects. He quickly realized that the environmental movement was not adequately supporting young environmentalists, and therefore he created Greening Forward. Today, 6 years later, the youth-driven, youth-imagined organization has grown into the largest movement of its kind. In all, Greening Forward has contributed $60,000, more than that, in funding to youth environmental projects and has planned 3 international young environmentalist youth summits. The Children's Museum of Indianapolis has dedicated a piece of their permanent exhibit called The Power of Children to Charles's work in making a positive difference in the world. And as of this year, Charles has been published in 3 books on youth entrepreneurship. It is my pleasure to introduce to you guys my friend and fellow changemaker, Charles Orgbon.
Tug on anything at all, and you'll find it connected to everything else in the universe. But if we're all so connected, how is it possible to have overlooked the 80 million youth in America, or the 111 million people of color? If the environmental movement ever hopes to succeed, we must present the environment as not a birds and trees issue, but as a people issue. That's how we will get people of color on board. Yet, there are many things that give me hope for the environmental movement. First, this room is more diverse than the environmental movement, a symbol of how there are more young people of color in the U.S. than white children. I'm hoping that our generation's more willingness to talk about race is a signal that the environmental movement is becoming more literate and more equipped to build upon our history than any generation before us. Second, our generation is able to see the environment as an interconnected issue, not a singular issue. Young people are able to see how people of color are more likely to be marginalized by polluting industries, and we are not afraid to call out those inequalities. Being an anti-racist means that putting aside our fear and speaking out against these injustices, environmental and social, that plague our society. Otherwise, racism lives longer, and it remains socially acceptable to not talk about race. The longer our unresolved racial tensions will color the way we look at life. No matter how we wish to ignore it, race matters just as all lives matter. Environmentalists, we are more than tree huggers, we are people huggers. In reality, the earth has been here for 4 billion years and will likely outlive us all. What we're really trying to save is ourselves. And before we can save ourselves, we must first learn how to love each other. So I'm excited to be here with you guys today to keep pushing the needle forward for a more equitable and sustainable world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Charles. I hope you get some time to rest this weekend. All right. Last but not least, we have our keynote speaker, Hasib Muhammad. Hasib was born in Singapore to Bangladeshi parents who were actually in Singapore to study. When he was 4, he moved to Florida. Life as an immigrant was tough, but because of it, he has come to appreciate all cultures and what beauty they bring to the table. Hasib works for Greening Forward, the fastest growing and largest youth-staffed environmental nonprofit organization in the world. As vice president, he has the opportunity of empowering youth on a worldwide scale through education and financial grants. Greening Forward's mission is to empower young people so that they are at the forefront of the environmental movements in their communities. In addition, Hasib serves as an advisor for a number of organizations, including Keep America Beautiful, State Farm Youth Advisory Board, and the Jane Goodall Institute's Roots and Shoots. In the fall, he will be attending Harvard College as a freshman. Let's give Hasib a warm welcome.
Hi everyone, thank you for the kind introduction. Welcome to Greening Forward's 3rd Annual International Youth Environmentalist, oh my goodness, I messed up the name. 3rd Annual International Young Environmentalist Youth Summit. We are so excited to have you. Okay, so I regret to inform you that I am the entertainment for the keynote, which is basically a love story between me and Greening Forward. So let me start off with this. I have a confession. I grew up believing I was a plant. Literally. The signs were all there. The doctor diagnosed me with a green thumb. There was no cure. My friends considered me down to earth because I was so sickly short and therefore physically closer to the ground than any of my peers. And come wintertime, I was a mean, lean evergreen. While other gullible children pestered a cumbersome charlatan for presents at the mall, I asked an infinitely more reliable giving tree in my backyard. Not to mention, I had posters of the Lorax posted up all in my room. It was a USDA-approved organic, although awkward, very awkward childhood. Naturally, I am an environmentalist, but I didn't realize it at the time. At the time, I was just doing me. But ever since I was a wee little squirt blossom doing whatever wee little squirt blossoms do, my immigrant parents reiterated one idea: always keep close to your roots. Around the time I turned 12, my parents concluded that the pollutions of American popular culture, like rap music, McDonald's, and school dances, has tainted my roots. And again, keep in mind that I was a plant. A plant without roots is a very, very unhappy plant. Obviously, something needed to be done. Suddenly, my father switched on a cassette player, and tunes of untuned sitars filled our 3-room apartment. A trip to Bangladesh it is, my father proudly proclaimed. We're visiting the motherland. Unfortunately, I didn't know much about Bangladesh except that it was a very, very poor country. But despite this, I had heard some pretty interesting stories my mom used to tell me about growing up. She recalled the times she would hide low in the rice paddies after school, jumping out at unsuspecting farmers and fishermen, scaring the curry out of them. The literal curry, they dropped the curry, they dropped the rice. She recalled sunsets over the marshes and running through lush green fields and eating berries, and I wanted to do all this. She shared pictures of her village garden. It sheltered a patch of bright red flowers that radiated its own light, and I wanted to shine like that. I was expecting to find fun and adventure, creating my own Jungle Book story with dancing bears and talking Bengal tigers and the whole 9 yards. Now, when plants perceive some kind of threat, they release signals. Similarly, because I was a plant, during the plane's initial descent into Dhaka, Bangladesh's capital city, butterflies in my stomach flew rampant, either from my anticipation or the plane's turbulence. Looking out the window, my eyes caught sight of a thick blanket of smog which wrapped the whole city. As I stepped out into the humid haze, the smog swarmed me like killer bees and constricted my lungs like an anaconda. Poverty was as abundant as the grains of plastic bottles littered everywhere. Plants populated the world in millions of years, but humans overpopulated Bangladesh in decades. Leaving the airport, I handed a legless, begging woman $2. Children fought over rotting food on the ground, their fingers caked with grime. Tap, tap, tap. They tapped on the car window as we stopped in nameless traffic. I closed my eyes, but when I opened them, I didn't see any Jungle Book adventure. And that got me wondering. Young people make up such a large part of the population, of the poor. And why didn't they do anything about their problems? Were they lazy? Did they deserve to be in these situations? Just because the power of place put them there? After talking to other young people from all over the world, I realized they had so many interesting solutions to the world's problems, but they didn't have the opportunity to act upon it. In Bangladesh and in many other places around the world, it was a societal culture to push youth back as naive and let the grown-ups handle it. Kids are a beacon of light in an ocean bogged down by the superficialities of reality. From birth, I think every little kid wanted to be an astronaut, or a professional athlete, or in my case, a Power Ranger. The red one, of course, because all the other colors are irrelevant. But as kids, become teens, and as teens become adults, and as adults become old and senile, this innate curiosity wanes in favor of mundane realism. What once started as the sky's the limit becomes, do we even have enough fuel to get this rocket off the ground? More often than not, the pinpoint justifications and meticulous thinking patterns that real-world grown-up decisions like paying bills and choosing insurance require suck the youth out of people. I mean, for a case study, let's look at President Barack Obama. It seems as if his advisors on his cabinet advised him to overdose on tons of Gray for Men before every press conference. Kids aren't worried about functionality, but rather creativity. Not the what or the why, but the why not. So why not put kids in the helm of the environmental movement? To some, it seems like a crazy idea. How can we put youth in charge of such a politically driven, high-stakes conversation? But I can say, how can we not? Enter Greening Forward, the fastest-growing youth-staffed environmental organization in the United States. I came to Greening Forward abruptly, and it was for a very simple reason. I was so bored with my life. Wake up, eat soggy cereal, go to school, come home from school, eat soggy rice, study, and sleep. Lather, rinse, and repeat for 365 days a year. Who else feels that way sometimes? Yeah? It was a monotonous cycle that went on and on, like that song on the radio you never want to hear, but you always do. In fact, the email I sent Charles was a plea begging to get involved. Greening Forward's mission on helping empower young people to take environmental action in their communities completely inspired me and aligned with the turmoil I saw in Bangladesh and in many communities in the United States. I was so surprised when he emailed me back, giving me a chance to get involved. These past 2.5 years of the organization have only reiterated the power of young people. From Kid Power DC's Gardens to Hilton Head Prep's Rain Barrels, the power of youth comes from their tenacity to drive forward in a world that keeps pushing them back. Working with Greening Forward, I've heard some really stupid questions. Now don't let people tell you there aren't stupid questions, because there are stupid questions. For instance, why is recycling so hard? Alright, now, are you saying that because the recycling bin is on the other side of the room? You want to walk there? The struggle, man, the struggle. Another question I hear is, Haseeb, how can kids change the world? Only adults can do that. Kids are too young, too immature, and too naive. And as you can see, age is often confused for maturity, or the lack thereof. Age comes from how long you've been alive. On the other hand, maturity is gained through empirical experiences, collections of both the peaks of our successes and the valleys of our failures. I know plenty of kids who act like adults, and I know plenty of adults who act like kids. Charles, it's all about perspective, which is a powerful word. And that's why we're all here today at the International Young Environmentalists Youth Summit. Each of us is unique, and I mean that literally. We all have a dynamic perspective on the world that is special only to you. There has never been anyone like you in history before, and there will never be anyone like you for history to come. Think about it this way. Many of you took pains to even get here. You saw a view of the skies that Galileo and Copernicus never saw. At the International Young Environmentalist Youth Summit today, I want you to find out what really makes you tick. What really makes you come alive. Essentially, passion. Passion is a compelling force that drives us to accomplish the unaccomplishable, to make possible the seemingly impossible. How many of you know what your passions are already? Okay, that's a sizable amount. For those of you who do not know what our passions are, I'm sorry to say that you can't find your passion. Let me repeat that. You can't find your passion. I mean, how can you find something when you don't know what it is? Instead, grow your passion, nurture, and let it sprout. Reading Forward for me has been the catalyst to grow my passion. Sure, after Bangladesh, I knew I was interested in helping the neglected, but I didn't realize how much it meant to me until after seeing the work of our young environmentalists. As environmentalists, we have it tough. People always assume that we have some sort of secret agenda. I would love to find the secret agenda lying around somewhere. My secret agenda doesn't involve tree hugging. In fact, I don't advise hugging trees unless you enjoy sheltering ticks. To each his or her own, so if you do enjoy it, I'm sorry, if you do offend. I think at its core, environmentalism has more to do with people, the human condition, than just being about being green. Humanity is a global family after all, and Mother Nature is the domineering parent. You know how mothers are. No matter how much we manipulate Mother Nature through pollution or environmental degradation, she punishes us tenfold with rising sea levels and smothering smog. Environmentalism, in fact, empowers young people to clean up their acts so they don't feel Mother Nature's rage. Consequently, my secret agenda involves people hugging them. So, watch out. All in all, don't wait to make a change. That's the biggest disservice you can do to yourself and society. You are all remarkable leaders already, and that's obvious because you're here on a Sunday morning. The friendships you make here will last a lifetime. Take it from me. The information you learn here will be very valuable from all our workshops. Wow, my voice got a whole lot louder. But don't be selfish. It does absolutely nothing to keep this information to yourself. Bring it back to your communities and share your wisdom, your tips and tricks, your methods on improving the planet. So learn a lot, laugh more, and most importantly, live like a kid. Thank you.